Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely.
Today we're taking a look at Calitri-Mondo Andata e Ritorno.
Calitri World. Round trip.
Yes, a poetry collection described as versi poems.
So it's verse.
Which maybe we should start there.
Yeah.
For those of us who aren't Italian poetry experts,
Right.
what exactly are these versi?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, they don't follow the typical rules for Italian sonnets.
Okay.
So the rhyme scheme's a bit more unconventional.
Interesting.
And I think thematically the word versi really refers to this back and forth
Okay.
between opposing forces.
Gotcha.
Kind of fits that whole round trip theme.
I was just thinking that. So the word itself almost mirrors the kind of
Yeah.
emotional push and pull
Mm-hmm.
that we find in the poems.
Absolutely.
Now, in addition to the poems themselves, we also have an introduction from Lorenzo Labagnara.
Yes.
And you were telling me that he makes a really
It's compares.
an interesting compare.
Yeah, he compares reading these poems to swinging on a park swing. And I know it sounds a little strange at first, but
It's funny because when you think about it, there is something about the back and forth of a swing that connects to that versi idea.
exactly.
So I'm starting to see what he's getting at here.
And he describes this effortless movement. You get that same feeling from the poems,
Yeah.
this gentle arc of swinging.
Nice.
And then he brings us right to Calitri.
Okay.
And he paints these really vivid pictures,
Oh, yeah.
touching the stones of the earth of the bone,
Whoa.
breathing the cold air of winter dawns, drinking red wine in the caves.
You can really feel it.
You could almost taste that wine.
The cold air, the stones.
Yeah.
Powerful imagery.
And I think he focuses on that so much because for somebody who's been away from Calitri for so long, these little details, the feel of those stones,
Yeah.
the smell of the air, become these anchors
Anchors to the past.
to their identity, to their past.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, this is what it feels like to be home.
Right. So it's more than just geography. It's about
Yeah.
an emotional connection.
Exactly.
And that's where I think our poet, Michele Venditto Tuozzolo, comes in.
Yes.
He's the one who takes us on this round trip.
Exactly. And Labagnara's intro really sets that tone for the whole collection.
Okay, I'm ready to get into it. Where do we start?
One of the first poems that grabbed me was Mani Sapienti, which means skilled hands.
Okay.
And right away, we're introduced to this ache of somebody who has left Calitri behind.
Interesting.
He describes these hands that could fix muscles, tendons, discs, and bones.
Wow.
But then he says he left so simply in silence.
Ooh, that hits hard.
It does.
There's a sense of loss there that goes beyond just a physical absence.
Absolutely.
Like it's a loss of a whole way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets even more personal in Questo Passaggio Cosmico, in this cosmic passage,
Yeah.
where he speaks about the powerful call of his land. And he has these vivid memories of alleys, caves. Yeah. Even the sound of the first milk drawn at Uncle Michel's farm, the bone setter.
Wow.
He really takes you there.
Those details.
What those sounds.
Exactly. And I think that speaks to something universal.
Mm-hmm.
We all have those sensory anchors that tie us to specific people and places.
Yeah.
But for the migrant, those memories become even more precious
Because it's all they have left.
because they're all they have.
Of home.
Oh, yeah.
So we're starting to see how this round trip is as much internal as it is
Yes.
external.
Absolutely.
It's the journey back to Calitri,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also the journey back to oneself.
You got it.
And that journey isn't always straightforward or easy, is it?
Not always, no.
So where does he take us next?
Yeah. And it's not all sunshine and roses either.
Right. It can't all be like postcard perfect memories.
Exactly. He doesn't shy away from the tough stuff.
The more complicated emotions.
Yeah, like in Neutro Pensieri Armonici.
I nourish harmonious thoughts.
He's a sailor,
Okay.
lives and dies for the water.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this sadness underneath it all.
Yeah.
Mentions being fitted with a device to monitor his heartbeat.
Almost like a sense of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. Like something's off.
Yeah.
And then he tells us his wife has gone back to Poland with her daughters.
Oh, wow.
And he hasn't made love in months,
Oh.
but he can't bear to be away from the sea.
So he's torn between these two
Yeah.
really fundamental needs,
Yeah.
human connection versus his passion.
Exactly. It makes you think, what would you do?
It's a tough one.
Where's home when your heart's pulling you in two different directions?
Yeah.
But then we get necessario.
It is necessary.
It's like an antidote
to all that longing.
to that emptiness.
Yeah.
And he starts with these simple things.
What kind of things?
A glass of water,
Okay.
a hand-embroidered tablecloth.
Everyday pleasures.
Just appreciating those little things.
Slowing down.
Yeah, and then human connection.
Like what?
The warmth of a grateful glance.
Those tiny moments.
Those little connections.
Yeah.
Becomes so important.
It's like a lifeline.
Exactly.
When you're feeling alone.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, even when I'm lost,
Mm-hmm.
these small acts of kindness remind me I'm part of something bigger.
Makes you feel less alone.
And he keeps going.
What else?
Every return, every embrace, every bright eye as necessary.
So that cyclical theme again.
Yeah, leaving and coming back.
The ups and downs.
Darkness and light.
Life.
Right.
Life.
It's all part of it.
And then he says, someone still says we must do what is strictly necessary for the soul of poets.
Now, this is where it gets meta.
Meta.
Like he's talking about poetry itself.
Yeah.
Like what's essential for a poet?
What does a poet need to create?
To thrive, to make art.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what is that essential thing?
Right. What is it?
Is it solitude, connection, pain, joy?
Probably all of the above, right?
Probably.
That's the beauty of it. It can hold all those contradictions.
The messiness of human emotion.
Yeah.
And Venditto Tuozzolo captures that so well.
But he also brings in this lightness, this humor.
Oh, yeah. Where do we see that?
In Paniapesi, hanging clothes.
Laundry. Not exactly the most poetic topic.
No, but trust me.
Okay, I'm listening.
Laundry hanging on innocent clothes hangers. Wine stains on new shirts. The washing machine sounds.
So mundane.
So everyday.
But oddly comforting.
Right.
It is.
And then he says, we are grown now. We speak in the present, the future. We are fathers. We feel each other.
So he goes from laundry
Okay.
to this reflection on
Time passing.
fatherhood.
Family bond.
It's like those everyday things, those chores can become these portals.
Something deeper.
If you really pay attention.
If you slow down.
Like in Ho visto la photo. I saw the photo.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
He's doing something similar with a photograph.
He sees a photo of his friend's father,
Okay.
smiling and caressing his truck.
So simple.
But so powerful.
Evokes a whole world.
And it speaks to that power of photographs to transport us back in time.
To those people we've lost.
It's a tangible link.
Or to the past.
Yeah, and then he runs into his friend at the Madonna.
Okay.
And he says, his speech is ancient, his accent modern.
Wait, how is that possible?
That's the point.
Okay.
It shows those layers of identity, our heritage, our experiences, how we change over time.
We carry the past.
But we're also shaped by the present.
We're not just one thing.
Exactly, a mix of everything.
And then he says the friend's missing a tooth.
Yeah.
Somehow makes it even more
Poignant.
like even the strongest among us.
Bear the marks of time.
It's true.
And then there's this call to action. Apritli la casa de vostri nonni. Open the houses of your grandparents.
I remember this one.
It's a powerful poem.
Like he's urging us to rediscover our roots.
To go back.
To breathe in that air.
He says, breathe in via Nicolae. Knock on closed doors and wait for someone to open them.
Like those memories are fading.
You'd be lost.
Unless we do something.
And then he says that someone in a while will be you. Maybe you will have opened a house to live in, to listen to the silence that brings advice. Maybe, who knows, also to work, to pray, each to their own God, to meditate.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But it's beautiful.
You're not just visiting the past. You become a part of it.
Carrying the torch.
Keeping the flame alive.
But am I worthy?
It's a big question.
Am I doing enough to honor that?
I think he wants us to grapple with that.
Figure out what it means.
For each of us.
But it's not just about the past, right?
No, it's about the present and future, too.
We shape it, too.
We're active participants.
And that takes us back to this whole round trip idea. It's
Yeah.
not just about going back.
It's about bringing something back with you.
Something to enrich your life.
To inspire others.
I'm ready for the final leg of the journey.
Let's do it.
You know, it's funny thinking about this round trip idea. It's not just a one-time thing, is it? It's
Right.
like we keep circling back to the
Yeah.
same themes.
But seeing them differently each time,
Like a spiral, almost.
it is like a spiral.
And he doesn't let us get too comfortable, does he?
No, he does not.
Like, just when you think you've figured him out, he
Mhm.
throws something new at you.
Like Vivo Alive.
This one feels so different.
Yeah, it's almost dreamlike.
It is. He talks about wanting to go inside these homes of hairdresser musicians.
Yeah.
These people who just see him, greet him fleetingly, and continue a breakfast standing up.
It's like being an outsider looking
Yes,
at
hands in action.
And then he connects that feeling to,
To these fears of past lives, days gone by without having lived them.
oh, wow.
Like he's haunted by these missed opportunities.
Yeah, what could have been?
The paths not taken.
Do you ever feel that?
I think we all do.
Especially as we get older.
Those what-if moments.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. He calls those memories beautiful dreams.
Right, he's accepting it all.
The good and the bad.
The light and shadow.
It's all part of who he is. There's wisdom in that.
Accepting those difficult moments.
The things we regret.
They shape us.
It's all part of the tapestry.
But then we get separazione partenza.
Separation, departure.
And it's a whole different tone.
Much harsher.
The reality of migration.
Yeah.
These stark images.
Like what?
Arrival, departure, half a pig, salted at the Foggia train station.
So visceral.
I can smell it, feel it.
It's a reminder that this round trip, it's not just a metaphor for some people.
It's real life.
Full of hardship.
And sacrifice.
And then he takes us to Germany.
The Black Forest.
Working, singing in church.
Gathering with other Calitrani.
Like creating a little piece of home.
In a foreign land.
Those connections become so vital.
When you're feeling uprooted.
Absolutely. But then he says,
we will all return alert or lying down.
Wow.
Death as the ultimate homecoming.
It puts things in perspective.
All those triumphs and heartbreaks.
They all lead to the same place.
But even with that heavy truth, he ends on a hopeful note.
Oh, yeah. Where?
In grano della nostra terra. Weed from our lands.
Okay.
He talks about these hands that resemble the hands of our fathers.
Like a connection across generations.
Yeah, being settled in the lands and in memories in the sense of our dances.
Connected even in death.
And then those final lines.
Give me chills every time.
We are rhythm that creates rhythm. I listen to your voices. I recognize them.
Wow.
That legacy lives on.
Not just in our blood.
But in the rhythm of our lives.
So we come full circle.
Back to the round trip.
It's not just about going back.
It's about carrying that essence with you.
Letting it shape you.
How you move through the world.
Michele Venditto Tuozzolo has given us so much to think about.
Yes.
From those little details of Calitri to these big questions about what it means to be human.
And the power of poetry.
To move us, to challenge us.
To connect us.
That's a good place to leave it, I think.
I think so too.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep those poetic fires burning.
Absolutely.